What's up guys, Chris here with CryoFX, and today's video, two different titles, but the same thing. How to repair a cold spark machine or cold spark machine repair. You got a cold spark machine and it's not working. How do you repair it? Well, first and foremost, you got to diagnose the problem. What is the problem? Is the problem related to DMX? Probably a DMX issue. I'll show you where that is in a minute. Is the problem related to power? Is the power actually on where the wall receptacle is and the problem resides in the machine? Show you where that could be inside the machine later. Also, is the machine just not working? If you're using a wireless remote, may be an issue with the frequencies. A lot of wireless remotes, a lot of RF frequencies have intermittent problems. So you want to make sure you're dissecting and actually laser focusing on what the problem is and where the problem could be. If the machine's on, if the DMX is working and or the remote control is working, whether it's a manual remote or a wireless remote, but something's not working with the machine, you might hear the blower on the machine. If you hear the blower but nothing else is working, that problem is specific to the heating element itself. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So again, cold spark machine repair. Most common problem that people deal with these machines is they don't upkeep the machines, they don't empty the machines out with the reservoir on top, and they don't use the machine afterwards to get the rest of the sparks out. When you don't do that, you're going to get a clogged internal heating corkscrew, or the heater is not going to turn on. One of the two. Heater not turning on, probably a electrical problem. Okay, so I'll tell you about the heaters here in just a second. If the machine does not want to work, what's probably happening is you have spark granules inside and you didn't clear those out. Well, that's your problem, but we're going to tell you how to fix that here. I'm just telling you that because you don't want to hear it, but now you know how to clean your machine out better next time so that you can avoid those problems. So let's dive in, but first and foremost, if the machine's not turning on, probably a bad fuse. So check the fuse, make sure you replace it with the right fuse. If the machine turns on, you're not getting anything happening, we'll dive in. I'm gonna show you exactly how to work the machine here. This is already taken apart so that you can see what the inside of it looks like. For the purpose of this video, if you wanna come up just a little bit closer, you can hear my voice, you won't see me. I know you don't wanna see me anyways, probably not the prettiest looking guy. I had to make some comical in this video. So anyways, this is inside the machine. Now, talking about how to repair a cold spark machine. First and foremost, if I'm able to lay this down, that means nothing is plugged in on the other side. So before you even open the machine, you want to make sure that nothing's plugged in and that you let the machine sit for at least 15, 20, 30 minutes. Don't quote me on the time, but there may still be a charge in the machine, especially if you just use the machine. Let the machine sit for 30 to 60 minutes. I would say 60. Let's say 60. This inside, this heating element is going to be hot. I don't want you touching this machine, and you don't want to be touching the machine when it's hot. So while we're talking about all that, let's say your machine's cooling down. Regardless, there's screws on the outside of this casing, cold spark machine case, that you're going to want to take off. That's how you get it taken off here. Now, this cord is originally going to be through the machine as such. What I'm going to do is show you exactly where this is plugged in. It would be plugged in right here. So cold spark machine repair tip number one, take this piece with some pliers and grab the top of this. Do not pull by this wire. This is super, super fragile. You want to grab the top of this with some pliers and pull it out, disconnect it. It says fan. Some of the boards will not say fan. All the machines on the inside look the same or function the same. Sorry, they don't look the same, they function the same. May have a different board, may be in a different area. So this particular machine is an iSparkFX M3, M4 machine. The larger ones, the M2s, look similar inside. All of them function the same. They all function similar, and they all have the similar inside. So once the screws are taken out of this, let's say that this was up, screws were taken out of this. Let's even, you know what, for the sake of this video, I just want to be super explanatory here. I know we're kind of jumping all over, but let's just say this was already on, okay? This was put together, never opened. I know there's wires sticking out, forget that. take these screws out, take the cap off, take those screws out, put those aside. Remember where you put the screws. All the screws are different. These screws will not work here. These will not work here. Don't let a screw fall into this cavity here. Put the screws aside. Take the other 2, 4, 6, 8 screws off this plate. I'm not going to do that here because it's already done. When the plate comes off, especially on these machines, you have a ground wire that's going to be connected to this tab here to ground the top of the machine out. This comes off. Ground wire is noted in green. Let's hope to God it's green. You go ahead and there is one screw here, one screw down here, and screws on the other side, and that allows you to take this plate off. Actually, there's 2 down here as well. Kind of jumping all over, but want to just get to the point here, hence the quickness of it. Once those are done, you set this down. That other piece will be connected here. Just make sure that you don't overextend that and pull it out. You'll want to get that out. You'll take the other screws off the bottom here. Then you take this case and get that wire out of there and put this aside. So the cold spark machine case, put that to the side. Now you have the inside here. Again, not plugged in, not heated, not used within the last 60 minutes. So, cold spark machine repair, or how to repair a cold spark machine. The number one problem you're going to have is you're hearing the blower, but you're not getting this turning. This turns easily right now because this is completely clean inside. If it wasn't, what you have is, and I have other videos that open this up and show you the inside, you have a corkscrew that goes through a cylinder and that meets up right at the edge. Obviously, those granules get in between that edge right there, and it makes it where it can't turn. You don't clean it out, those are gonna harden there, and that's where your problem is. Some of the spark machines, I will tell you right now, you can just crank this and you can, with your hands, or some of them have chains, and you can crank that chain or take a pair of pliers gently and crank this. That will do enough to get your spark machine loose and to get this turning again and to get it working again. Don't test it while it's open. Put it back together and test it. Make sure it's good. Just note that you want to go ahead and you want to make sure that you don't let that happen again and you clean this every time. But while you're at it, might as well talk about opening it all the way up and going inside. Link below in the description how to clean the actual heating element and how to repair it. But covering the basics here just for this video, what you'll do is you'll go ahead and these screws, you'll loosen, let me get my pointer here, which is a handy screwdriver. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll loosen these screws. You'll push this down. Well, actually, it would already be down, but you would go ahead and push this up, and then you would take the belt off. Allen wrench here, 5/64 inch. It goes in this little thing here. You loosen these 1, 2, and then this will go ahead and pull off. Once you take this off, you can see it's kind of a B to get off. Then you have this other little piece that comes off as well. These come out. I'm just going to unscrew these. Again, these are already loosened, but you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those would come off. Now, regardless of what method you take this off, you can leave that just like that. One screw here, I've already taken out. This is for the reservoir on top. The other screw, I'm over here, I got a drill and I'm doing this with a screwdriver. Let's go ahead and just, so make sure that you do not lose that screw. Set that to the side. Now, I'm gonna say this while I hold this because I want you to take a note in this. As you can see here, there's probably granules still inside here if you didn't empty them out all the way already. So you want to make sure that you get this where you can get your finger right underneath and then empty those granules out. No granules in here, but this comes apart. This is exactly what this looks like. I think that this even comes off the top here. This even unscrews. And I'll go ahead and just show you this for the sake of the video. You can get inside, blow all that out, clean that out, use an air hose, blow all this out, put this back on, Again, most of the machines will do this. You can clean this. Let me say, do not use any solvent. No solvent. Air hose only. No liquids, no solvents. If you're using rags, make sure that they don't leave any leftovers behind, any threads, things like that. You'll set this aside. Now, this is already taken apart. Let me move this again. So there is a screw that goes right here, under here, and there's a screw that goes right here. Those have already been taken out before we did this video so that these two frames can come apart as such. What you'll do is you'll pull these apart. You'll get this out. See how this just compresses itself right into there? And you just gently pop that out there. When you take this apart, there is a ceramic style washer that goes here. You can put that aside. And then here's your heating element. What this looks like inside is like this. So that, all that is the insulation that's inside. You have your heat shield here. That kind of gets everywhere. This is the actual heating element itself. So I have a heating element that we used, that we actually took off from another machine. Put this aside. This is what it looks like. Okay. You have your temperature sensor wires that are right here. The white ones, which after a while they get burnt and they get crisp, as you can see here. That's why you have some of this white crap going everywhere. And then you have your actual wires that come off the heating element itself. Ground wire, which connects, you can see this heating element here. The ground wire connects, all the ground wires connect right here. You have your other ground wire that goes into your power cons. You have another ground wire, sorry, that I actually forgot to say earlier in the video, that goes to this clip on the side right here. So this one does go here. I did forget to mention that earlier in the video. Don't hate me for that. Leave a bad comment if you want to. Put me on blast. I'm ready for it. Anyways, these two pieces to the heating element are actually what connect to the board. Specifically, those are right here on this board. So you have 1 and 2. Not every board is going to be like that. Okay, make sure you have the proper tools and the proper gloves. This heating element, as you can see, literally just wraps around this post, if you will. In order to get that off, you have to take this screw off, which is the temperature sensor that is right here. Do not lose the 2 washers there. If there's 2 washers underneath that screw, if you lose those washers, that screw goes in so far that the internal part of this, which is this, will hit those screws and it will not work. This one we kind of cleaned on an earlier video. However, that's what the inside looks like. You do not want to use solvent with the bearings, with none of this, no liquids at all. Take a wire brush. You want to clean this off with a wire brush. Make sure the wire brush is new. Do not use the wire brush for your barbecue grill. Do not use the one for your battery terminals. It will corrode it. It'll cause problems. Get a new wire brush. Wire brush this off. Get the inside clean here. You can use a brand new pipe cleaner to wire brush pipe cleaner to clean out the inside here. Blow this off, kind of clean it. Now, if you're replacing the heating element, if you're how to repair a cold spark machine heating element, we have another video that we're going to talk about that. I go into detail. You'll take this screw off. You'll actually replace the whole heating element. I'm not going to do that here. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, put this back together. That's what the inside looks like. Put that back together. Bring this over here. Now, I got my other ceramic washer I'll put here. All that crap, get that off there. Now, this lines up one way. This top piece and this piece, you want for this and for this. By doing so, I just insert this again. Boom. Goes on just like that. As you can see, this piece right here is where the granules come out. That goes into this little piece right here, which is the vertical piece that air comes out to blow the sparks up. So what I'm going to do is put this shaft through here. Go ahead and kind of crank this out like that. Pull this apart and boom. Get that seated just right like that. Now, when you put this back together, I'm gonna tip this to the, oop, I'll get that in a minute. So what we'll do, actually, let me get it right now. It's all over the place here, but hey, live video, you know what I mean. So what we'll do is go ahead and line this back up. So you wanna make sure that the screw goes in here. You line that washer up, get the screw in, move the motor, or sorry, move the heating element around. One screw goes in. You move that with your finger. Another screw goes in. I'm not gonna put the other two screws in just for the sake of this video. You will tighten these down with a screwdriver or a drill. Then you put this piece back on the shaft here. These were the pieces, the two little screws that are inside here that you will clamp down with this Allen wrench once it is on. So then you'll go ahead, you'll put that back on, lift your motor up, put the belt, sorry, getting ahead of myself here, look at that. Take the Allen wrench, tighten this back down if I didn't say that already. Once those are tightened down, then you take the belt, lift the motor up, put the belt on. If we can get that there. Boom. Make sure the belt's in the grooves. With my hand underneath, I'm gonna push this motor down and then tighten these 4 screws. I'm not gonna do that on this video because I wanna get to the end and I wanna keep it short, but I will push this down, tighten these screws down, then go back. Here's my reservoir, right? Here is the funnel. Put the funnel on the reservoir. There's the area where the screw goes. What I'm gonna do is turn this funnel, goes in this hole as such. Boom. And then I rotate this around. I'll go ahead, put my screw in here. Boom. Now, for the sake of the video, we don't have the other screw, and I'm not gonna put the other screw in because I wanna make sure that I get the basics down and I show you guys how to do this. So the other screw would go in here. Again, you'd have your screws there. Now, the last thing I forgot, you have a screw right here, which I don't have on this table, that would go in here, and another one right here. Those would go in. These would be screwed in tight. The other screws behind here would already be in. That screw would be in, okay? Use your imagination to picture all that. Then you go ahead and you grab the outer case, feed the wire back through the machine. Where is that little guy? Looks like it's getting stuck on something. So there we go. So that wire goes back through. This case goes on as such. This wire will connect right into there just like that. I'm not going to push it down, but I would push it down if I were you, if you want your machine to work right. And what that does is this is the fan on the other side of the machine. And you'll go ahead and put this grounding cable back on the machine like that. You know what? I'll go ahead and put this in for the sake of the video here. Boom. Now, these would all normally be zip tied. You could put a zip tie here and another zip tie outside of that right here to kind of hold these together. But basically, you would put this machine back up. Again, nothing on top right here. You don't want any wires on top. You would put this back up as such. Make sure you don't pinch any wires. Now, I'm not going to put the screws in on this video, but what you would do is you would put your screws in on the machine. You would line it all up. Screw, screw, screw. 2 on the back. 3 more on the side here. And then you would go ahead. Remember that post that was sticking off? That's where the ground wire goes. Put the ground wire on that. You go ahead, put this piece back on the top here as such. Boom. Just like that. And of course, screw here, screw here. This looks all janky because nothing is put together, but it would be put together and you would put your screws back in the top here. And that is how, of course, you don't want to forget your cap. That is how to repair a cold spark machine. I'm Chris. This is CryoFX. Thanks for watching this video. Other resources in the links below. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.